Welcome everyone back to weekly weather updates, and in today's video we're going to have a look at the latest from the live radar, run for the UKV, have a look at the precipitation and the temperature over the next 5 days, as we have got this high pressure system sticking around for the next few days with lots of cloud, especially further southwards, chillier conditions for all as we do have an inversion taking place, but hopefully through the weekend into the start of next week, although we're not going to see a massive change, we are likely to see some more transition in air masses, which may give us a bit more precipitation perhaps, but also some clearer skies and a bit of sunshine. Because I know further southwards has been pretty abysmal the last couple of days, especially today. Lots of low cloud, lots of drizzle around, and just generally pretty miserable conditions. As we head into the longer range though, it does look like the pattern will become a lot more mobile as we do head into next week, especially the second half of next week, where we are likely to see a much more active jet stream. Now it does look like it's quite up and down, quite wavy, quite amplified, which does mean that there is the risk of colder and milder sectors. So it's not going to be a massive southwesterly wind where it's massively mild in the lead up to Christmas. It is going to be very up and down. There will be milder days, there will be colder days, and to be honest, as we'll have a look from the ensembles at the end of the video, colder conditions are actually more favourable, but at the moment not expecting anything major that would produce widespread winteriness or anything like that. Just cold and reasonably unsettled with the northwesterly wind. It's been pretty persistent though the last couple of days, so we're starting to see some more increased confidence for that, the lead up to Christmas and perhaps for Christmas itself. So do remember, if you enjoy my videos, make sure you like and subscribe, and remember to follow me on Twitter as well, the link's in the description. Now if you start on the live radar, you can see again not too much going on, a bit of rain around and drizzle, and there's a bit more drizzle in the south than we're actually seeing here. The radar's a little bit underdoing it if we're being completely honest, but for most it is fairly mundane conditions. If you do look at the temperatures, you can see it is pretty cold further northwards, widespread frost once again, further southwards, much milder, but still feeling chilly out there, even though the thermometer temperatures are still in kind of the mid-single digits. You can see for much of Europe, though, where we haven't got this easterly flow, it's all the cloud getting dragged off the North Sea. That's what's keeping the temperatures slightly higher. You can see elsewhere, though, under the higher pressure, widespread freezing conditions as we do head through the evening. Now, if you go over to the latest UKV now, let me just refresh it and we get the 3 o'clock run. You can see again, we've got a few showers around as we head into Friday, but generally chilly and cloudy again does rule. As we head into Friday evening though, we start to see perhaps a bit of a change, some slightly sunnier conditions for Saturday and a bit more rain around as we do see a slight transition in air masses, but really no massive improvement perhaps until early next week. We start to see some proper mobility with more rain coming in from the west. You can see at the moment the upper air temperatures are actually pretty mild, and they'll turn colder over the next couple of days, potentially much colder through the weekend, but it really is a transition, and then you can see much more oscillating pattern into next week as we do see lots of chopping and changing. If you look at the 2 metre max temperatures, you see a frost again in the north over the next few hours, and into tomorrow afternoon once again it's chilly, only 5 to 8 degrees. Into Saturday, once again, temperatures only 5 to 7 degrees, another chilly day. But Sunday, look at that, with the mobility and the westerly flow returning, temperatures back perhaps into the double digits, maybe up to 12 degrees in a few locations. And the same could be said for Monday and even into Tuesday. So not massively mild, but much milder than it's been recently, especially over the past few days and the next couple of days. But again, it's not a massive improvement, just a slight improvement there in those temperatures. Now, if you look at the latest GFS now, you can see the big area of high pressure that's sat over the top of us, bringing frost to much of northern and western Europe. You can see over the coming days we do see that westerly flow pushing back in, but it's a pretty amplified jet stream, so we will be oscillating between milder and colder sectors. For the lead up to Christmas, you can see the jet stream does push quite far southwards, and we do see this far-fetched northwesterly wind. So for actual Christmas Day, you can see it's actually pretty cold and pretty unsettled, temperatures well below average, and at the surface, again, we're not expecting any major snow, but temperatures mid to low single digits, and there's the risk of a bit of winteriness further north across Scotland. That's one to keep a close eye on. Into the subsequent days, we do see the westerly flow return, and if we go back to the European view, you can see it is a northwesterly wind, so oscillating between those colder and milder sectors. So chilly conditions are favoured for the Christmas period, around Christmas Day at the moment, but we're not expecting anything major. I must emphasise that. It's not a real long northerly or northeasterly wind, or even flat easterly. It is a northwesterly. It's long sea track, which means that the air at the surface is a lot more modified than if it was from the north or the east. So it's chilly, it's cold, bit of snow maybe in the north, but nothing major, at least at this stage. As you compare it to the GEM, again, we see this northwesterly flow starting to push in late next week, real oscillating between the air masses. And then again, as we head into the lead up to Christmas, a brief ridge of higher pressure, and we do see some chillier northerly winds starting to push in. So yeah, chillier from the GEM as well, but again, nothing too special. If we then compare to the latest ECMWF, again, high pressure is in control. The westerly winds return next week, pretty unsettled, and then into the lead up to Christmas, again, a bit of blocking to our north, but nothing major, and most likely would send us chilly with another northwesterly flow. You see a lot of cold air exiting out of Greenland there. We see this all summed up pretty well on the latest ensembles. Very up and down over the next couple of days, oscillating air masses, chilly at times, but also milder. But then around the 19th, 20th, in around a week's time, that's when we kind of see this persistent northwesterly wind. You can see a lot of ensemble members are a few degrees below average. Not significantly below average. Again, we need to get down to that -5, -6, -7 degree level to see snow for low-lying areas, that is. You can see here we're down to kind of -3, -4. So a couple of degrees off any wintry potential. But nonetheless, it's pretty chilly and pretty unsettled. That looks like the pattern for Christmas at this stage. We're still a good 10 days, 12 days away from getting to Christmas Eve, so still a long way away from seeing this come to fruition, but that's the signal we're getting at the moment. And you can see it's very up and down with the temperatures. Into next week, it's a little bit milder with those more westerly, milder flows, but generally, as we can see, the lead up to Christmas, it is pretty cold. Temperatures only 5 or 6 degrees. Now, to finish by looking at the latest ensembles, again, from the Eastern DOF, it is pretty similar. You see up and down again with the temperature spikes over the next sort of week or so. Bit more of a higher precipitation late next week, perhaps coinciding with a large area of low pressure. That's something to keep an eye on. Could be a more severe system. And then again, longer term, a big dip just before Christmas. Not quite as sustained as the GFS, but nonetheless still pretty chilly, and would definitely be one to watch as we head towards that Christmas period. So, to be honest, not too much of a change from yesterday. We had a very similar signal, but perhaps just slightly more confidence now as we do head towards that Christmas period. It'll be very interesting to see exactly what it does entail. But at the moment, it looks chilly, but also pretty unsettled. Not ruling out the risk of some snow, but at the moment, the only area that's probably got a moderate to high chance will be those higher ground of Scotland and Northern England, maybe low-lying areas in those regions as well, if we saw a pattern like the GFS, for example, which does produce some snow-worthy air, just not sustained and coming across quite a long sea track, so it'd be difficult to set those dew points down. As I said, we'll have to wait and see, but at the moment, chilly and unsettled looks like the pattern for Christmas. So thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you again for another video soon.